Well, it looks as though Netflix have yet again pissed everyone off by making the wrong decision. Why am I not shocked that Netflix have come out with a new documentary with a historical figure, and they can't even get the casting right? This is apparently now Queen Cleopatra. I don't know why you've made that decision. I don't know what. Again, it's already been ratioed. Did you not see that coming? When you race swap a historical figure, you know, it's one thing to do it with a fictional character, but to do it with a historical figure, you're kind of just taking the piss with that. But this is apparently the description of the show from executive producer Jada Pinkett Smith, who cheated on her husband with her son's best friend. Comes a new documentary series. Again, they have called it a documentary. If you can't even get the specifics right, what credibility do you have? Why should I trust anything that is said when you've went out of your way to clearly... I don't know. I don't know why it is something that gets done. It's very strange to me. It's very weird. But we'll go through what exactly this is about. Series exploring the lives of prominent and iconic African queens. This season will feature Cleopatra, not really though, the world's most famous, powerful, and misunderstood woman. A daring queen whose beauty and romances came to overshadow her real asset, her intellect. Cleopatra's heritage has been much subject of much academic debate. Not really. You know, everybody was talking about, like, oh, what was her relationship like with Caesar? You know, how did she rule? And then some idiot came in and said, Cleopatra's black. All right, you've added something there. You know, even if that was the case, again, you've now reduced the conversation online, and I guess from what your trailer shows in the show as well, you've now reduced the conversation to skin color, when that isn't the thing of interest about Cleopatra. Again, it's stuff like, how did she rule? What was she like? Not what her fucking skin color was. But that seems to always somehow come into the focus when you're dealing with Hollywood types. But again, it's something that, if you actually look into it, all it takes is a quick Google search to go, all right, there's no evidence to possibly say that she was black. No evidence whatsoever. It's pretty obvious what she would have looked like, considering she is of Macedonian and Greek descent. And we've got paintings, and we've got sculptures. It's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious, but no, they've made this decision, again, reducing the conversation to something trivial that has no importance because you made this decision, and now that's what everybody's talking about. Not the interesting parts or what went on. They're now talking about that, and again, when you make decisions like this, you've called it a documentary. If it was a movie, it'd be a fucking different thing. But the fact you were trying to present it as the facts, when we know this not to be the case, that's going to be an issue for a lot of people. But we do have, from the director of the show, she's spoken out about all this. She slammed the critics of this casting, and this is her guest article in Variety. She says, "What bothers you so much about Black Cleopatra?" Let's try and break this down. Let's try and figure it out. Because it's not historically accurate. You know, you may be asking, how did I come to that conclusion? Well, because it's fucking obvious. Very obvious what people have an issue with. It's not, oh no, not enough. It's not, it's nothing to do with, oh, well, it's a black person, we don't want those. And, it's nothing like that. It's to do with, it's not historically accurate. And what people expect from a documentary is historical accuracy. So that's what's bothering people. But no, what we already have the actress telling Netflix's subscribers not to watch the show. That's a good move, smart move, and trying to, of course, blur the lines by showing certain people saying, bad things, and trying to, blur the lines between people that have criticisms based on historical accuracy with someone that said something racist on Twitter. So they've already went that route with it. It's already no, you just don't like black people. It's not. Oh no, it's not historically accurate. But let's go into and see what the director has to say about why she made this decision. This very smart decision, I guess. But you know, she goes on to, last summer I was living in Venice Beach. Don't really care. She goes on about visiting a fortune teller, right? She says the fortune teller said, I am not saying you are Cleopatra, but somehow you share a story and are connected. Right, so, you know, fortune tellers are full of shit. You do realise that. So, right, okay. Less than a month later, I got a call from a production company making Jada Pinkett Smith, because that's the person you want. She's got the best ideas. That's why she cheated on her husband with her son's best friend. And was subsequently hired to direct 4 episodes of a drama documentary. It's not a documentary. If you can't present true facts, it's not a documentary. It is a fantasy. Why did you not just do that? Make a movie. Have a bit of fantasy with it. You could have done that. People wouldn't really have as much of a problem, would they? But no, you've presented it as, this is the facts. And then later on in this article, you completely admit that, oh, this isn't the facts. I remember as a kid seeing Elizabeth Taylor play Cleopatra. Yeah, Elizabeth Taylor is probably not what Cleopatra would have looked like. But this woman seems to think that there is only white and black. There's no in-between. When it's going off of Cleopatra's heritage, it's pretty obvious what she would have... You know, I'd go with olive skin. A bit more like Gal Gadot, that was supposed to be playing her in a movie. You know, I'd probably go roundabout there. You know, if you actually want historical accuracy. But you're bringing up a movie from 70 years ago, which has got nothing to do with a documentary. I was captivated, but even then, I felt the image was not right, so I did it completely wrong as well. Was her skin really that white? So what you done was, you watched the movie, and you decided to focus on the trivial things, rather than, oh, this is interesting, you know, what her relationship was like with Caesar, how she ruled, how the citizens viewed her, you know, all these little interesting things. You went with, she's got white skin. You went with the least interesting fucking thing. With this new production, could I find the answers about Cleopatra's heritage? So I don't know. You clearly didn't find any answers, because you're basing this on no evidence whatsoever. There is no evidence. I mean, again, all it takes is a quick Google search, and people say, no, she wasn't. Based on her heritage. Every time it has been brought up, it's been dismantled, because it is not true. And as most archaeologists, people like that, you know, have said, historians, it's a bit reductive. It's not the point. Why are we focusing on that when we've got more interesting things that we can pull from the historical events? So, but no, they've chose their time to spend it on shit like this and piss everyone off, so no one's going to watch it, and it's not going to get another season. Good plan. And release her from the stranglehold that Hollywood has placed on her image. Born in Iran, I am Persian. You know, I don't know what that's got to do with anything. And Cleopatra's heritage has been attributed at one time or another to the Greeks, the Macedonians, and the Persians. The known facts are that her Macedonian Greek family, the Potomac lineage, intermarried with West Asians, Seleucid dynasty, and had been in Egypt for 300 years. Cleopatra was 8 generations away from these Potomac ancestors, making the chance of her being white somewhat unlikely. Again, I guess there's no in-between. I don't think anyone's making the claim that she was fully white. I mean, you just have to go off what her heritage is, and the paintings, and the sculptures, and the coins that she was on. There's a lot of stuff to go off there. Making the chance of her being white somewhat unlikely. After 300 years, surely we can safely say Cleopatra was Egyptian. She was no more Greek or Macedonian than Rita Wilson or Jennifer Aniston. Both are one generation from Greece. doing the research. She done research, guys. That's why she got it wrong. I realised what a political act it would be. Well, that's not your fucking job, is it? Your job is to prevent the facts in an interesting way. That's your job, not making political acts when it's not really a political act, is it? It's just, oh, you got it wrong. You got it wrong. It would be to see Cleopatra portrayed by a black actress. I don't really... How is that a political act? To be honest, it's just being an arsehole. For me, the idea that people had gotten it so incredibly wrong before, like you have, historically, from Fida Barra to Monica Bellucci, and recently with Angelina Jolie and Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot is probably, out of all of those, is probably the closest to what Cleopatra would have looked like. In the running to play her meant we had to get it even more right. So apparently they've gotten this right. Yet if we go down, she mentions a reimagined Cleopatra. So that is admitting that this is not, you have not gotten it right by saying it's a reimagining, which just means whatever the fuck we want it to be. So yeah, already you've messed that up. But let's continue on and see what else she has to say. The hunt was on to find the right performer to bring Cleopatra into the 21st century. Well, Cleopatra's dead. You know, you're just supposed to bring the facts to it. That's it. Why shouldn't Cleopatra be a melanated sister? Because she isn't. Again, I don't know why people ask these questions when it's, like, obvious. It's like, are you a bit slow? Are you a bit dim when that is, that you go, why can't she be? Well, because she wasn't. And you're making a documentary, not a movie. So you should be presenting the facts as close as possible. And not just going, now we're going to make it all up. We're going to make it all up. What we're going to do in America is we're going to take someone else's stories and do what we want with them. And just completely change them. I mean, they've already got Egyptian lawyers suing them. And why do some people need Cleopatra to be white? Again, is there no in-between to you? Is there only white and black? Is that all there is? There's no in-between. It's just, oh, she can only be black or white. But again, they do this like, oh, why do you need her to be? Because it's historically accurate. You know, even though it's not, we need her to be white. It's like, well, you should just be trying to get her to look like as close as she did. You know, that's what I'd try. If I was making a documentary, that is what I'd try to do. And again, it's like, well, we can apply this to anyone. Why can't Martin Luther King be a white man in a documentary? Why can't we do that? So you can flip it around to the same thing, and it's because it's not historically accurate. Her proximity to whiteness seems to give her value. No, it's just her value is to history. That's all. Again, you're making it more apparent that you are not the right person to be helming a documentary on Cleopatra, or anyone for that matter. And for some Egyptians, it seems to really matter. Yeah, because it's their fucking history. That's why it would bother them. I don't know why you don't understand this. After much hand-wringing and countless auditions, we found in Adele James, who told the audience to fuck off, an actor who could convey not only Cleopatra's beauty, but also her strength. What the historians can confirm is... No, you said you're getting it more right. You can't go down this avenue now, can you? What the historians can confirm is that it is more likely that Cleopatra looked like Adele than Elizabeth Taylor ever did. No, they both didn't look like Cleopatra. As production got nearer, I realised the magnitude and political nature of this job. But no, you don't know what job you're in then? It was important to get things right, yet we're going to say eventually a reimagined Cleopatra. But also to find a way of telling the story with humanism and nuance. Well, you're no longer telling the story. Again, what you have done by making this decision is now reduce the conversation to skin colour, rather than what went on. What went on in her era? That's the interesting part of it, not her skin colour. So that's what you've done. The last thing we needed was another Cleopatra divorced from her womanhood and her power, only sexualized. The HBO series Rome portrayed one of the most intelligent, sophisticated, and powerful women in the world as sleazy, dissipated, drug addict, yet Egypt didn't seem to mind that. Where was the outrage then? But, well, maybe it has something to do with it's a HBO TV series. And not a documentary. Again, there's a difference between a documentary and a TV show. I would expect liberties to be taken within a TV show. Although, I can't really comment on, was she, she slept around, didn't she? From what I understand. Where was the outrage then? But portraying her as black, well, again, it's just, I'm going to bring up something that is presented as a TV show and compare it to my documentary where I've distorted the facts. And then I'm going to say, oh, why have you got a problem with black people? It's a fuck off. Again, every time, it's like you have the opportunity to make a documentary about anyone, yet you choose to go with, especially when you're claiming we need more representation for, whether it is black women, black men, whatever it may be. Right, what we have is, the situation we have is, there is a load of books, a load of stories sitting somewhere, covered in dust, because no one is choosing to tell those stories. They're going, nah, we're going to take something else and we're just going to race swap them. When we've got these stories covered in dust that no one is willing to tell. Yet they claim they're so desperate for this representation, these stories to be told. Then tell the stories that are there. But no, it's just, we make this historical figure black and then we've done it. Right. Great. Perhaps it's not just that I've directed a series that portrays Cleopatra as black, but I have asked Egyptians to see themselves as Africans. I don't know what that means. And they are furious at me for that. I am okay with this. I know, because you are an asshole. While shooting, I became the target of a huge online hate campaign. I wonder why. Egyptians accuse me of blackwashing. That's what you've done, and stealing that's what you've done. When you take something from history and change it to suit your own needs, you've kind of stole their history. Some threatened to ruin my career, which I wanted to tell them was laughable. I was ruining it very well for myself. Yeah, you definitely have, because you're not getting hired back for a season 2 here. Thank you very much. No amount of reasoning or reminders that Arab invasions had not yet happened in Cleopatra's age seemed to stem the tide of ridiculous comments. Amir, in his bedroom in Cairo, wrote to me to earnestly appeal that Cleopatra was Greek. And she says, oh Lord, why would that be a good thing to you, Amir? Well, it's not about anything being a good thing or a bad thing. It is about historical accuracy. I don't know why you're trying to change it to something else. That is what the problem is. So was Cleopatra black? We don't know for sure. No, right now you just, so you're going off with no evidence. You've changed her race, or at least what she would have looked like. And now you're like, we don't know for sure, even though you just said we need to get it as right as possible. And then you also say it's a reimagined Cleopatra. So really, you're lying. You are admitting you are lying. What can I say? But we can be certain she wasn't white like Elizabeth Taylor. No one's making that argument. No one is making that argument. We need to have a conversation with ourselves about our colorism. Just do the fucking documentary. That's all you got to do. But, they mention all these buzzwords. I don't care to get into it. About our colorism, internalized white supremacy, all a load of made-up stuff that Hollywood has indoctrinated us with. Most of all, we need to realize that Cleopatra's story is less about her than it is about who we are. It's almost as if we don't realize that misogynoir... I don't know what that word fucking means. What is it? Misogyny against black women or something like that. Still has an effect on us today. Whatever. We need to again. People just want it historically accurate. You're going down some route that's got nothing to do with anything. But this is what you get when you hire fucking activists and not people who actually care about what they do. We need to liberate our imaginations and boldly create a world in which we can explore our historical figures without fearing the complexity that comes with their depiction. I am proud to stand with Queen Cleopatra. That's good because no one's going to watch it. A reimagined Cleopatra. I thought you were trying to get it as right as possible. Right, you made that up then. And with the team that made this, we have reimagined a world over 2,000 years ago where once there was an exceptional woman who ruled, and we reduced the conversation to skin colour. Right. I would like to draw a direct line from her to the women in Egypt who rose up in the Arab uprisings, and to my Persian sisters who are today rebelling against a brutal regime. Never before has it been more important to have women leaders, white or black. Has it really got anything to do with Cleopatra? She's dead. She died thousands of years ago. But again, it's not surprising. It's just, you're just a liar. You have no credibility. No credibility whatsoever. There's no reason to watch the documentary. You've reduced the conversation to something meaningless when it could have been about the interesting stuff. So you haven't done a good job. Quit making documentaries. Just quit. You're not good at it. You're not good at it if you can't present just simple facts. So yeah, get a different job doing something else. You know, I wouldn't even say make stories. Just go away. But, you know, as you can see, it's already been ratioed. Netflix have turned the comments off, of course. That's a bit soft and a bit pathetic that you've turned the comments off. But yeah, it's just like you made a pointless decision, and now no one's going to take you serious. Now no one's going to watch it. You know, I don't know what the attempt, you know, what the point in it is. I don't really, again, it's not the first time we've seen it. We've seen it with Anne Boleyn, where they made her a black woman, even though it's like we know what she looked like. Why are you doing that? What is the point? What are you gaining? You know, I really don't know. I'm always mystified when that's what we've got to do. We've got to make someone that was white black. Why? There's no reason to it. It doesn't get you anything unless it's just we just want to lie and make stuff up. But it's not the first time we've seen it, and it's probably not going to be the last.